There was no nightlight in the nursery. Not anymore. 3 scared children no longer lived there. William tugged the end of the coarse rope, stretching into darkness, and the dead weight ploughed through the soft, damp pine needles of the forest. His progress had slowed, but he estimated that he had come several miles from the house. Sweat mixed with misty rain and ran into his stinging eyes. He juggled the lantern from the crook of one elbow to the other. The body at the end, strung by the neck, lay outside its weak glow. His soggy Oxfords, sleek black and polished to perfection only this morning, slipped in the mud and he fell. He lay still for a moment, letting his physical and emotional exhaustion overcome him. William was far from a physical man. His strength of protocol, organisation and above all perfect poise had served him well as the family's butler for many years, bringing him happiness and station. This wretched day he wished he could give it all back to feel only a little less pain now. It had been early morning. William had left his quarters, his appearance perfectly attended to, and briskly crossed the grounds to the manor. A great deal should have to be done before the children woke. Their meals should be made, clothes inspected, and set out for them to change into. He would ensure that the tutor's lessons were in order. These were on the top duties that the normal house required. As a butler, his duty to manage the other members of the staff and see everything attended to, a staff he found strangely absent. William had found Jessica, the cook, first. She was laying in the middle of the cigar lounge, a puddle of white vomit on the bearskin rug near her face. The vessels had popped in her eyes, dyeing them crimson. Mary, the children's tutor, had fallen down the stairs. He found her near the bottom, limbs contorted at awful angles. He had to step over her broken body to climb the stairs to the nursery. At the top of the stairs, his knees buckled beneath him. There was no light on in the nursery. Of course he'd have to go in. He had to see what had happened for himself. Every night, as he had tucked the children into bed, he set a nightlight out for the youngest. Someone had come in during the night and smashed the lantern onto the floor. The whole room was ash and charcoal. He left their little bones asleep on their beds. He'd searched the grounds all day for signs of strangers. Finally, near sunset, he'd come upon a man in the garden shed. He felt sure that the man looked familiar. The petite butler managed to wrestle him to the ground and bash his head with a mallet. He felt sure that the perpetrator wasn't dead, and so he'd taken a length of rope and tied it around the man's neck. All he knew was that he wanted to take the man to be as far from the children as he could. William picked himself up out of the mud and found the rope again. This was the spot. He could go no further. He followed the rope, lantern out in front of him. It was even longer than he'd realised. It snaked along the ground through bushes and shrubs, at times disappearing under the pooling rainwater. Then he came to the other end. An empty nut sat half sunk in the needles. William picked it up and placed it over his head and tightened the knot, then threw the rest of the rope over a sturdy branch. They say sometimes on rainy nights you can still see a small light on in the nursery, and you can smell smoke in the air. They say if you watch it all night, that just before dawn, you can see the light being blown out.